Hey, I'm Morgan England, Senior Associate Director of Admission at Tulane, and these are my top 5 admission tips for juniors. My first tip, don't sweat the essay. And I'm putting this as number 1 not because I think it's really important, but because a lot of the juniors that I talk with are really stressed about their college essay. Nobody's getting into or not getting into a college because of what they wrote on their college admission essay. My advice would be think about some of those stories that family tell at holidays. You know, the ones where you totally roll your eyes, you feel like you've heard them 16 times by this point, but they are probably really integral to who you are as a person. Or think about if you wrote this essay and then left it on your desk in your classroom and your name wasn't on it and a classmate picked it up. By reading that essay, would they immediately know who it's about? If they would, that's probably a really good topic and a place that you should be starting. When you're writing this essay, I say sit at your laptop, stream of consciousness, type out this story similar to how you would tell it if you and I were sitting across from each other over a cup of coffee, and then walk away from your laptop. Don't touch it again for a few days. Come back, edit for length, edit for grammar, show it to a parent, maybe show it to your college counselor, have them do that similar type of edit, and then you're done. Because the more that you are editing this thing, the more we're losing your voice and instead seeing the voice of your mom, your best friend, your college counselor, and they're not the ones applying to college, you are. All right, tip number 2. That was lame. Tip number 2, academics are king. First and foremost, when I'm looking at an applicant for Tulane, I'm considering, are they gonna be a good academic fit here? What this means is I don't wanna see a student who's coming here and really having to overwork themselves just to tread water in their classes. If you're spending all of your time studying, you're not able to get involved in all of the other things that otherwise made that campus such a great fit for you, you're not thriving at that school, and we're doing you a disservice by bringing you into that community. Another really common question from juniors this type of year is, which classes should I be taking my senior year? Honestly, it doesn't matter that much. I want to see that you're challenging yourself within the context of what's offered at your high school, but beyond that, take classes that really interest you. Take classes that spark joy. If you're loading up on AP classes, for example, just for the sake of loading up on AP classes, but you're getting C's in some of those, what that tells me is some knowledge, some information is being left on the table in the classroom. You're not leaving with all of the information you could have gotten out of one of these classes. You're not getting a lot of value out of that class, and it's maybe not the best use of your time. At the end of the day, academics really matter. Every school is going to be happy to see that you did really well in your junior year, really well in your senior year, that you have some sort of upward trend. So keep at it, finish strong. I call my third tip humble summer. Basically, it's all about your resume. In the college admission process, we're not looking for the students who have the longest resumes. It doesn't have to be multiple pages. Actually, it shouldn't be. If it's 3 or 4 things that you've really loved doing, that's perfect. I also call it humble summer because we're not necessarily looking for students who have taken these lavish trips around the world. We're not looking for people who are doing these fallen tourism type of activities, extracurriculars that are really only available to the top 1%. If you've done that type of thing, that's fine. Don't panic. You haven't done anything wrong. And if you feel like you really got value out of that experience, go ahead and share it with us. But otherwise, you're not at a disadvantage because you're not able to do these types of things. I don't need to see a super fancy internship from a high school junior. What I'd rather see is somebody who's getting their hands dirty in their own backyard. A lot of our communities could use our help. Go ahead and volunteer in your own community. Get a part-time job. You're gonna get a lot of really great skills from these things that are gonna serve you really well in college, and I promise every college counselor is really gonna like seeing these things on your resume. Embrace your humble summer. My 4th admission tip is do your research now. That research can look like visiting schools, talking with your college counselor, working with a community-based organization or a CBO, following different colleges on social media could be a really good idea. What it doesn't look like. Don't feel the need to email your assigned admission counselor just for the sake of emailing them. A lot of people think that they really need to show how interested they are in a school, and they approach it more like a game than like doing actual substantial research, and that's not going to help you in this process. A lot of people think that we're putting almost like check marks next to your name for the number of times that you email me with questions that you definitely already know the answer to. A better way to approach this is to be doing that research into what do these different schools offer, which ones are going to be a great mutual fit for me, and then doing a great job of articulating that fit, maybe in your optional essay. I promise that it's going to go so much further towards gaining you admission than counting the number of times you've emailed me or shaken my hand. And my last tip, consider a wide range of schools. If you're feeling overwhelmed, a really good place to start is think about your own experience in high school. What's really worked well for you at your high school? What do you really love about that place? What maybe hasn't worked so well? What would you like to change? Another great place to start is visit a lot of different types of schools. Now, I know it's really expensive to fly all around this country to visit all the schools that might end up on your list, and that's not necessarily what I'm advocating for. I'm a first-generation college student, so I didn't have a lot of people in my family who had college experiences that I could pull from when I was trying to figure out what it was I wanted out of college. So my parents had this really good idea. Basically, we all got in the car and we drove around California, where I'm from, and we visited every type of college. We went to the big public universities, small private universities, research institutions, really small liberal arts colleges, everything in between. Even though some of those schools weren't necessarily on my list, they gave me an idea of what that type of school would be. So it really helped me filter down my options when I was doing that online research. I found that really, really helpful. At the end of the day, fit should drive your search. There are more than 3,000 different colleges in this country. And to think that there's one perfect school for you out there is just not realistic. It's also not realistic to think that the same 10 schools are going to be the right fit for the hundreds of students that are in your class. So be open to different schools. Be open to the fact that you're going to find more than one good fit. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Breathe. You've got this. You're going to crush the next year.